If you're a branded merch company that is struggling to get consistent leads, this video is perfect for you because today I'm going to break down the lead generation setup we implemented for a branded merch company that got them from booking 15 meetings in the span of 6 months on average to getting 30 plus qualified leads in 4 days, with 23 of them being within the first 2 days, right? So I'm going to walk you through the 3 steps that we set up for them, and I'm going to give you the key insights from each step so that you can implement this for yourself and start filling up your pipeline. And the best part is, once it is set up, it's pretty much running on autopilot using automation, using AI, so you can focus on what matters most, which is closing deals. So let's run through the whole thing. Now, when this company came to us, they were very skeptical to work with a lead generation agency because everyone knows how bad of a reputation they have. Plus, they just didn't get the best results beforehand. They were landing in spam a lot. They were getting the best support with their company, but they decided to give us a shot over a 1 month pilot, and we completely wowed them. So let's go through it. Step one, building the prospect list. So we started by analyzing their past clients just to find the pattern of who spent the most money, who stayed the longest, who spent the most, all that good stuff, because we wanted to replicate a proven concept that could just scale, right? So we found that construction companies were their best customers. They purchased repeatedly, and they purchased for a specific use case, which when we did some of our research was hiring sprees and new projects. We used a tool called Manus AI, which does really good research on industries in terms of their top spending patterns and all this stuff. So great tool there. But once we found out the top spending industry and the use case that we wanted to reach out with, so we wanted to offer them promo for hiring sprees, so basically onboarding kits. Once we identified that, we basically had AI also identify the key decision makers. So the job titles, the company sizes, all that good stuff that would have the budgets and would be most likely to spend on the specific use case of onboarding kits or welcome gifts for new projects, whatever it is. And so once we started building our list, we used Apollo.io initially to build the initial list of construction companies because it's a huge database that matched our criteria. And then we plugged that list into Clay to find the specific decision makers within each company. So, the HR managers for hiring sprees, and then for new projects, it would be like operations teams and stuff like that. And then once we had the decision makers, we basically used email enrichment tools to get their verified emails. And then the interesting part is how we found the companies that were having hiring sprees and had new projects, because you can identify the use case that they're spending for, but how do you know the ones that the use case applies to? So what we did was we had a tool called Lead Magic, scan LinkedIn, and then find companies, construction companies, who had 10 or more roles that they were actively hiring for, which is an indicator that they have a hiring round coming up. They need to onboard these employees. They need to send them gifts, right? And then the second one is for new project announcements, which was the second use case for why they bought branded merch. So what we did was we had AI go through the entire prospect list and just research them to find out if they've announced anything. And then we segmented the lists so that we're able to run specific campaigns towards all of them. Now, the key takeaway for you is, this is so important, is you need to look at your past data, because based on your sales rep's charisma, your location, everything about you, there's a specific client that you've attracted. So what you need to do is define that ideal client profile. It's super important. Literally dumb it down to industry, maybe multiple industries, but just have specific personas because they're all going to spend on different things. And then find out using Manus AI, what are the what are the hiring, what are the use cases that they're spending most of their merch money on, right? So, is it onboarding kits? Is it events? Whatever it is. And then ask it how you can find this publicly available data. What tools are there online that can help you build a list of prospects who have that particular use case so you can reach the right people. And then once you build the list, that's pretty much it. Now you're ready for step two. So step two, what we did was we had a validated database of prospects. So we wanted to reach them at scale without, burning the client's main domain or landing in spam and stuff like that for the most part. So what we did was we purchased 50 lookalike domains to their current domain from Porkbun. And then this is the domain registrar. And then these are basically like domains look like the client's main domain. So if your name is promo.com, it would be getpromo.com, blah, 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 right? And then we set up 100 email accounts using Inbox Kit. All these 100 email accounts are basically set up under each domain, so 2 per domain, so that we can spread the volume across multiple inboxes so that Google doesn't see us as, spammers. And we only had them all sending 20 emails per day. And then we plugged all of those inboxes into a tool called Smart Lead, which set up an AI warm-up process, which is basically it's sending emails on a specific schedule with other users in the warm-up pool. And then these users also send you emails so that it mimics human-like behavior and, shows networks like Google and Microsoft that you're not spammers, you're actually human beings sending emails. And then once the warm-up was done, which is basically you have to do it for like 14 days, 12 to 14 days ideally, we also had the InboxKit team set up like spoof, DKIM, DMARC, all that fancy stuff, the technical DNS records that would basically tell email providers like Gmail and Outlook that our emails are legitimate, they're not a spam, all that stuff. There's multiple protocol that needs to be set up. And that's why, they came to work with us because it's not easy. But after we had the system, we then were ready to launch, but we set up something even better that not a lot of people have, which is a real-time lead management tool. We built a custom software for our internal company that would allow us to basically manage all the leads in an interesting way where we would get the lead and then it would give us a Slack message and then we would call them immediately because we can enrich their number. It's just a whole workflow that allows us to do speak the lead. So anyways, after that's done, and you can ignore this part, we didn't really do deliverability monitoring other than just looking at the domains. So that's pretty much it. But now that we had a system to reach the prospects at scale and not land in spam, what do we do from there? But even first, what are your key takeaways? So what you should take away from this is just set up domains on Porkbun, set up email inboxes under InboxKit, and then warm them up for 14 days. It's that simple, right? Now, for step 3, what we did was we were writing messaging that would get these types of prospects interested based on their use case. So we had very targeted messaging. So messaging is like 90% of it, I would say. It is super key to our success. So since, for example, we were reaching HR managers and operations directors, our main goal was to basically show them that we were creating merch for the use case that they were responsible for so that the messaging can be targeted to a need they have, but also we had a benefit. So there's 4 components of our messaging that were super important. First of all is a trending product and then a company name is fine, trending product and then use case and then the actual benefit that we had. And what this means is basically when we're reaching someone, we want to have an offer. There's 2 ways you can reach a prospect. Is saying we do branded merch or saying we will create this specific idea for you. And this one works better because you're basically positioning yourself as a creative partner that comes with the ideas. Obviously, you need a discovery call, but just an intro offer like that can show them the possibility of your creativity and therefore make them way more likely to hop on a meeting with you and work with you because they're sick of their current vendor who's not creative. So what we did was with these elements, what we were able to do is say, hey, okay, you have, let's say you're hiring 10 or more people. Great. We'll create a specific type of product with your branding and ship them to your new employees in gifts so that you can reduce turnover. And that would be the benefit. And then would you be interested in seeing a sample? Because everyone loves a sample. So let's break it down. Trending product. How did we do this? So we used Manus GPT. We use Manus actually for this, but we usually like to use Manus, GPT, even Gemini to find a specific trending product that this industry is buying. So for construction, we found a very, very, very trendy type of product that, all of them wanted to see their branding on, they were spending a lot on. So we were like, okay, well, let's offer that. And then for the use case, we basically just plugged into our email the actual use case, which is for your new employees or for your new clients that you just landed a project for, because obviously there's the project one. And then an interesting thing that we did finally for one campaign is we actually set up a workflow that went on every single lead's website and their LinkedIn, I believe, like around the internet, found their logo, and then the AI generated a promo mockup of what their branding could look like in every single email with their logo and attached it as images in the email to get their interest even further. It was a small campaign, but it did amazing. It was like 75% positive reply rate, which is just unheard of in email. So it was absolutely beautiful in every way. Now that we reach prospects with good messaging and with an interesting offer that they were actually likely to accept as a valid idea for their new use case. We got the positive replies coming in. We got 30 plus qualified leads in 4 days. The client was super happy. They were saying that the leads were super qualified on the phone. It was amazing. So trust me, this works. Now, your key takeaway here is do not send generic we do branded merch emails. Research what your ideal client actually spends money on, the use case, the trending products in that industry, and then come up with something that I call, it's like the three criteria for a good offer, which is the trending product, the use case, and then the benefit. Why do they want to buy this? And that's really going to be the needle mover for you to get responses on your emails, whether that's to warm leads or non-warm leads, right? And you can use AI tools like ChatGPT, Perplexity, etc., just to research all this stuff. That's pretty much it. With all this combined, we got 20 plus qualified leads in 48 hours and 30 plus qualified leads in around 4 days, which was absolutely incredible, versus basically 6 months of them just getting 50 meetings with this other agency. If you want us to build you a similar system exactly like this, maybe even better, you can book a call with me below. We specialize fully in promotional products outbound and print. Take care. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Subscribe. Peace.